We're going to look at teaching addition, moving towards larger 3-digit numbers and beyond. So, again, we're going to use the column method alongside Dean's to really support the understanding of carrying those tens and those hundreds forward. So we're going to make 276 to start with. 200, 7 tens, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 6 units. 2, 4, 6. So we've got 276, and I want to add 276 to 140, 30, 40, 5. Okay, so we're going to start with our units. So we're going to add 6 to 5, and 6 add 5 gives us 10 add 1, which is 11. Now, because I can't squeeze 11 in here, 11 units, we only have one digit in each column, I'm going to exchange 10 of my units for one of my tens. Okay, and rather than having my 10 in the units column, I'm going to move it over here. So I've actually got 1 unit, and I've moved over 1 10, which I'm going to record down here. So now I need to add up what I've got in my tens column. So I had 7 tens to start with. I'm adding 4 tens. So I've got 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120. So I've got 12 tens altogether, 120. Again, I can't squeeze in 120 like this. So let's see what we can do. Well, I can exchange 10 of my tens for 100. They mean exactly the same. So I'm going to move my 100 over here. And now I'm left with 2 tens. So I've got 2 tens and 100. I had 120 when I added all of my tens together. So now when I look at my hundreds column, I had my 200s added to my 100, and I also carried a 10 over from my 100 over from my tens column. So altogether I've got 4 hundreds. I've got 421. Now, as we move to slightly larger numbers, the hundreds, tens and units as they're represented by the Deans can become quite cumbersome. So we can move towards a more abstract representation of these numbers using place value counters. The reason it's more abstract is because the size of the equipment isn't in relation to their value. So 10 of these make 100, whereas with the place value counters, 10 tens isn't the same size as 100. The place value counters are exactly the same size. So some reinforcement work with that concept will be needed. But in exactly the same way, we'd make our numbers using the place value counters, so 276. And we'd make our second number, we'd make 145. And we'd follow that same process again. So we're going to start with the units. So we're going to have 6 units, and now we've got 8, now we've got 10, and now we've got 11. So rather than having 11 units here, I can't have 2 digits in my units column. I'm going to exchange 10 of my units for a 10. I can't have any 10s in here, so I'm going to have my 1 unit, and I'm going to move my 10 across into its correct place value column. Now, what have I got here? I've got my 7 tens, and if I add 3 tens to it, I've got 10 tens, and I know that 10 tens is the same as 100, and I've got 2 other tens. All together here, I've got 120. So, what I need to do is exchange my 10 tens for 100, but I can't record 120 in this column, so what I'm going to do is move this 100 across to here, so I'm left with 2 tens and 100. So I had my 2 hundreds added to 100, which is 300, and I've also got my 100 that I've carried over, so I've got 400 altogether.